Rural America. From it springs so much of what we value as a people. Our natural resources, and many of our cultural traditions, and core values. Rural communities can draw upon broad and deep assets that have enriched us all. Yet many rural communities face daunting challenges to their health and vitality, and have yet to feel the uplift our economy has generated elsewhere.
We just kind of see RCCI as a catalyst for change, and a lot of people are catching the spirit.
The people of RCCI, the Rural Community College Initiative, believe in rural America. The RCCI is a network of rural community college leadership teams committed to honest self-assessment and the highest goals and expectations for students, for the college itself, above all, for the community. Our goal is to build the region's economies and increase educational opportunity for everyone. RCCI is committed to economic development and improved access to education, inextricably linked to equity and excellence. The following program is part of a video and print toolkit series designed to communicate the mission and the method of RCCI, using community colleges to transform rural economies and the prospects of their people.
This type of technology basically opens up the world as a classroom for students in rural areas.
I think the face of education will be totally changed because of this new tool. It eliminates the factors of time and geography.
The bottom line for institutions is that they have to be willing to do their homework before jumping into providing distance learning programs.
Email, cyberspace and virtual reality, switching systems, distance learning, and asynchronous transfer mode. The terms can be as confusing as the ensemble of new technologies they describe. Yet institutions must learn the terms and handle the machines if they are to escape being mastered by these new technological servants. 1 million students already study in virtual classrooms, and more than 2/3 of America's 3,300 accredited colleges and universities offer some form of virtual learning. Many community colleges are exploring the opportunities and challenges presented by distance learning programs and new telecommunication services. They're investigating the potential of converging technologies to improve both the quality of teaching and the process of economic and community development.
I think one of the things that gets confused nowadays is that when we talk about distance learning, a lot of people have the concept that that's these monitors back here and it's interactive video and all that kind of stuff, and that is distance learning, but it's not a new concept. What's happened to distance learning is that it's become interactive, meaning it's real time. So we can talk to each other and see each other.
the site facilitator at each site will create a seating chart for me, and at that time I can call on students from different sites. I had to learn to respect what I would call the pregnant pause. When you ask a question, you have to wait for the student to formulate their answer, and then come on across the screen to come on.
Let's go on with the next one.
Another popular form of technology-based teaching involves distributed learning through online or modem-based internet courses. These courses provide flexible access for both on- and off-campus students.
These are sometimes referred to as asynchronous types of learning, where the student and the instructor and the other students do not have to gather in any particular place at any particular time. The student basically can log on and can do work and complete coursework at their convenience.
People who have irregular schedules, for example, folks don't just work the swing shift or don't just work the day shift. Maybe one week they're working the day shift, the next night it's the swing shift, and then it's the night shift. And what that means is they can't commit to being on campus or even on site for a course every Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock for 12 weeks because their schedule just won't allow that.
These new technologies can also help community colleges mobilize for economic and community development. Among the most promising strategies is the televillage.
We define a televillage as a virtual community, and by that I mean a community that is not necessarily bound by geographic barriers or artificial geographic lines, but a virtual community which could be one community or several communities coming together that are linked together through information and telecommunications, referring to business, education, healthcare, libraries, government, remote or at-home workers, etc., who come together to focus on the needs of the community, the challenges that are out there, and then begin to develop a strategy to create an enterprise, which a televillage really is, to help the community address these needs.
Distance learning provides a medium for education in the adult community that has enabled participation at much greater levels, particularly in rural areas where perhaps constituents don't have access to the providers, whether they're universities or community colleges. So if we can bring the learning to them in their place of contact, then we can present to them a learning opportunity that's going to enrich their lives and perhaps increase their economic viability.
Barriers exist in providing any type of technological assistance to education, and with distance learning, one of the greatest challenges is the acquisition of technology. Not only is the equipment expensive and quickly outdated, but it also comes in many different forms and is made and sold by many different companies. Indeed, technology is not the place where distance learning planners should start.
It's important when a community college is looking at developing a telecommunications or distance learning strategy not to begin first off with looking at technology and the technology needs that are going to be required. So one of the first things that a college needs to do is sit down with members of the community to really think about what are the applications along all lines, again crossing from business to education to healthcare to government to the needs of students, etc.
Community planning can also expand the pool of human and financial resources needed to develop distance learning.
It's not a good idea to move into this type of technology without having the skills and resources, the human resources that are necessary on staff to overcome the cost barriers. It's often helpful to develop coalitions, to develop partnerships with agencies or groups that are outside of the college to help share in the cost as well as the benefits of installing equipment for distance learning.
Once the issues of application and funding are resolved, buying the proper equipment becomes important, and this requires additional planning. With 2,000 accredited programs or courses now being distributed in the United States, distance learning is one of the fastest growing sectors of today's $8 billion education technology market.
It's a matter of the institution doing their homework and knowing what has worked best in which situations given the telecommunications facilities and the amount of funding that they have.
Perhaps the greatest barriers to distance learning are the fears and concerns it generates among faculty and staff. While some teachers eagerly embrace this new technology, many feel intimidated by a classroom that looks more like a television studio. Many teachers also believe that distance learning will eliminate jobs and increase their already heavy workloads.
I can access an English course from Harvard or Yale now. So why do I want to take it from somewhere else?
One of the greatest problems is that teachers are unwilling to take on the extra burden of the sheer number of students that are presented in a distance learning curriculum. I have heard of cases where teachers may be facilitating 5 classrooms at once.
Distance learning does require additional organization on all levels, from fine-tuning lectures and distributing class materials to facilitating the students' use of time, resources, and technology.
One expression that I've heard a lot of people use is that you're going from a model of having the sage on the stage, so to speak, to having more of a facilitator or a coach. And that's a very different role, and it's something that instructors really have to adapt to and sort of grow into that role.
And by the same token, students are having to learn how to make the best use of their time, how to use the technology, where to get help when they need it. And these are roles that the student's not used to either. So we have to train both the student and the teacher to best be able to handle their changing roles.
In teaching distance education courses, I have found that students have been conditioned to be passive recipients of television. So the challenge is to keep it a truly interactive learning environment.
We've also committed to putting a TA or a monitor at every site so that they can help. There again, you've got to be aware of who your audience is going to be and what their needs are going to be.
Distance learning works best where both instructors and students are technologically literate, where both have access to email and other telecommunication services, and where both feel comfortable using these skills and devices. Unfortunately, many rural areas lack the social and physical infrastructure to create this kind of learning exchange. Rarely, for example, do rural students have the same access as urban residents to high-quality computers and telecommunication services. And even where they do have such access, they can incur significant long-distance costs communicating with their teachers, classmates, and internet service providers.
In addition, individuals have to be of a certain makeup. They have to take the initiative, they have to be a self-starter. If they're not, then of course they'll fall behind because there's not that constant reinforcement of coming to a classroom and looking at an instructor face-to-face and being right there with them to be expected to turn in a paper or the like.
Yet for many distance learners, being a self-starter is not enough.
Many of them, for example, have not been to school for many years, and so they need help with the learning process. They need help with technology. They need help with many other aspects of learning.
New telecommunication services are helping Southwest Texas Junior College expand its institutional capacity, as well as contribute to the border region's social and physical infrastructure. Digital networks now link the main campus at Uvalde with the school's outreach centers on the Mexican border, and the college is helping to mobilize the area's school districts to create a regional telecommunications network.
Our 2 outreach centers in Del Rio and Eagle Pass are 70 miles one way to one, and it's 55 miles to the other. And so we cannot really bring the programs and the courses to the people that we need to take them to without distance learning. In our opinion, it was just another way to be more accessible and to provide more access to more people, and hopefully in a little more economical way. It hadn't proved to be that yet because technology is great, but it is expensive.
In addition to receiving technical assistance from GTE and Texas A&M University, the college used state and federal grants to buy the new technology.
So we created a local area network, digitally connecting together the different buildings, including the building that would contain the distance learning classroom, as well as connecting the remote campuses together in their local area networks. And then eventually we tied all 3 campuses together with T1 data circuits.
2% that they could cause a deformity in the child or could hurt the child, or she could even lose the baby.
Now people in Del Rio and Eagle Pass can complete their AA degree without having to come to Uvalde. We can see and talk to each other over our system, and we can deliver data. It's seamless. It's no longer Del Rio and Eagle Pass and Uvalde. It is Southwest Texas Junior College, wherever that is.
George Washington, ¿cuántas franjas tiene la bandera? ¿Qué color son las franjas?
Southwest Texas Junior College has made a special effort to reach out to the Hispanic community with different programs, vocational and academic programs in auto mechanics, air conditioning, cosmetology, and computer science, and nursing programs. And the college has satellite programs in Del Rio and Eagle Pass, and even in Crystal City. They're trying to implement a program where those people, instead of having to go to the college will go to them.
I was born and raised in Del Rio, Texas. My family are migrants. We travel to Northern California, to San Jose and Modesto, California. I'm the first one to go to college out of my family. Hopefully I'll finish in 2 years. I'm studying for dental hygienist and minor in communications. This is the first class that I take that is distant learning. At first I thought it would be kind of hard, but I'm getting used to it. It's like just being in a regular classroom, only you're seeing it on TV. Sometimes, like when I have questions or something, and I'm used to talking to the teacher, you know, face to face or something, and I always had to call her or wait till the end of the class, and by that time I usually forget my questions or so.
Southwest Texas Junior College is also using its new technologies to improve the region's social and physical infrastructure. Through grants obtained with the help of the college, T1 lines now link the Uvalde campus with the area's 21 school districts, providing them with both an internet and video connection.
We told them from the beginning, we are not going to rely on the state of Texas to do all this. We're going to aggressively pursue funds in other areas, but unless you communities go beyond your schools and go to your boards and go to your municipalities and you get a grassroots effort to support this, you're probably not going to get this done.
Haywood County is located on the western edge of North Carolina in the Appalachian Mountains along the Tennessee border. Isolated from the state's centers of population and decision-making, most of the county's 50,000 residents lack electronic access to resources. Haywood Community College is trying to bring them online. Working in collaboration with a variety of local and regional partners, the college's Regional High Technology Center is applying advanced technology in a number of interesting and creative ways. Like most community colleges, Haywood could not afford to build a technology center on its own.
The college and the region receive funding from the North Carolina General Assembly, from the Economic Development Commission, from the Appalachian Regional Commission, and from other state and federal agencies, including the TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority. And this building was constructed and was outfitted for the purpose of training and retraining of the workforce, and also to offer 2 degree programs. One is a manufacturing engineering technology program, and the other is an electronics engineering technology program, both 2-year associate degree.
Partnering also helped pay for the center's Information Highway Room. Linked to the North Carolina Information Highway, a state-of-the-art digital switching technology, the Distance Learning Room was built with the grant to HITIT, the Haywood Information Technology Infrastructure Team. This nonprofit corporation is composed of representatives from the county's various governmental agencies. Its mission is to use advanced technologies to increase the efficiency of local government, provide citizens with greater electronic access to resources, and aid the region's efforts to develop a self-sustaining economic base.
The Information Highway Room that's located here at the High Technology Center, it's actually a resource that's shared between us and all of these agencies that formed HITIT. Some of these agencies will come into the building and they'll have meetings with their counterparts on the other end of the state. They'll have various types of activities conducted over the Information Highway Room.
Haywood is also partnering with neighboring community colleges to provide the building blocks of regional economic development.
We formed a consortium called WC3, the Western Connection of Community Colleges, and it's a rather informal agreement that we'll work together in various ways to come up with a regional concept of technology connectivity so that we would have more influence when we go to various granting agencies, whether they be state or federal.
Some of the center's most successful regional efforts involve workforce training, particularly for ITT Automotive. Working in collaboration with other neighboring community colleges, Haywood's Regional High Technology Center has helped train more than 1,000 ITT employees at plants in adjacent counties. Back in Haywood, however, the county's largest employer, Dayco Industries, recently announced the layoff of some 800 workers. The college, in addition to helping the union coordinate counseling for the affected employees, is designing a modem-based workforce training curriculum. Funded with a grant from Lucent Technologies, this new national curriculum may eventually prove important to the county's displaced workers.
This project is going to create a nationwide manufacturing curriculum. And Haywood Community College is one of 3 schools in the United States that serves as a lead school in the development of this curriculum. It will be a brand new curriculum that will address many soft skills in a very contemporary, updated fashion.
In the meantime, Haywood is also using advanced technology to serve a combination of regional and institutional needs on campus. Located in an area with strong craft traditions, the college's professional crafts department is helping compile a database of the region's craft economy.
And with that registry, what we're trying to do is to document all of the individuals, full-time, part-time, second income, who are working and driving part or all of their income related to craft. And we hope to eventually to use that registry to help these people in marketing, to help them find suppliers, potentially have suppliers locate in this region.
Closer to the cutting edge are the virtual reality systems that Haywood has developed for the classroom. In addition to a home safety simulation for nursing professionals, the school has created a 3-dimensional environment that resembles the final scene of Flannery O'Connor's A Good Man is Hard to Find. By having students identify what should and should not be in the computer-based scene, the simulation suggests how well they recall what they read.
And the question could be just how close to the cutting edge should a community college come? In fact, it could be considered beyond the mission of a community college to invest in cutting edge technologies. But one thing about technologies that are on the edge is that eventually they make their way into the mainstream. Eventually they find their way into the middle of the stream where we are. So by preparing, by looking towards the cutting edge, a community college can take steps to be prepared for what is out of reach today, but tomorrow will be sitting on their doorstep.